You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and today is the Nutshack's 10th anniversary. I shit you not, the Nutshack was first aired on April 25th, 2007. And I've decided to do a real review of the Nutshack. I know on April Fool's Day I did kind of a joke review, but today I'm going to be discussing the show and what I really think about it. Now, you may notice the title is phrased as a question: is the Nutshack really as bad as they say? The answer to that is yes and no. Unlike a lot of people who review the Nutshack, I have seen every single episode. That way I felt I could build a more nuanced opinion on the show itself. Plus, I was oddly intrigued to see it. And as most people have stated, the voice acting is awful, the animation is abysmal, the writing is terrible, and the music is very annoying. The biggest problem the show has, though, is not how offensive it tries to be, because it does try to be over-the-top offensive just for the sake of being over-the-top offensive. But its biggest problem is it's just boring most of the time. Nothing really entertained you for most of the show. It's mainly just a bunch of gay jokes, weed jokes, and, scatological humor. However, there are a few jokes that do make me laugh here and there. I can't name any particular examples because they get overshadowed by all the shit. But yet I found myself strangely drawn to watching the whole thing once I started. And by no means is the Nutshack so bad it's good. It's not entertaining enough to be that way. But one thing that I never hear people mention is Season 2 is actually considerably better than Season 1. Sure, the animation is still terrible, it hasn't been improved, neither has the voice acting or anything else. But the episodes are genuinely kind of entertaining, particularly the Halloween special titled Slasher, which is basically just a clone of Jack going around killing everyone. I also kind of like the Blind Dick, the episode where it has Tito Dick as a blind samurai sort of thing, which I believe was actually a Season 1 episode, and one of the few good ones, and I use the word good very, very loosely. I saw an Amazon review that someone thought the show was all about getting hyphy, which is apparently some sort of dance thing, which is only ever mentioned once in the show and once in the extended intro, which has been uploaded to YouTube by the creator of it. The creator of the song, not the show itself. But other than that, absolutely nothing else in the show has to do with being hyphy, so I think this person on Amazon was very off base with what they said. One thing I will credit the Nutshack, though, is with today's day and age, a lot of cartoons try to play it safe. There are, of course, exceptions, but it's kind of refreshing to go back and watch something that's so overtly offensive, just for the sake of being overtly offensive. It by no means makes it a good show, but it makes it something interesting to watch. You're just kind of fascinated when you're sitting and watching it, wondering how something this terrible could be put out. Nothing in it really offends me, because like I said, it seems like it's being edgy just for the sake of being edgy, and offensive humor doesn't really get to me, personally. But there's something I will say. The Nutshack is better than a show that airs now, or at least aired recently. I don't know if it's still on because it was awful. Comedy Central had this show called Legends of Chamberlain Heights that's animation and voice acting and writing actually seemed worse than the Nutshack. But worst of all, the humor was way worse, even more base and scatological than the Nutshack was. It was fucking dumb. I'd rather watch the Nutshack any day of the week than fucking Legends of Chamberlain Heights. So in summation, the Nutshack is a god-awful show that I don't recommend you watch unless you're curious about it. But it's not quite as bad as everyone makes it out to be. There are much worse shows that have been on television. Also, I found Tito Dick to be the only somewhat likable character just because he's an asshole. But then again, they don't stick to him being an asshole throughout the whole thing. The characters don't really have set personalities, they kind of bounce all over the place. The biggest shame, though, is that Season 2 didn't get a DVD release. Like I said, Season 2 actually is much better than Season 1. It's still like comparing cat shit to dog shit. The cat shit has hair and is more nasty, whereas the dog shit is more fresh, so it's like, pick your poison. And when I say more fresh, I don't mean literally more fresh, I mean more moist and pungent. So do I recommend watching the Nutshack? Partially, just so you can say you've watched through the whole thing like I have. I really wish they would have released Season 2, because I would have bought it. I bought Season 1 for $7 at FYE. Which is fucking great, because it goes for like 50, sometimes 20, sometimes 50 on eBay, and it's usually not even up there. It's a rare find now. And honestly, I'd be happy if they would have tried a Season 3, because I think the show could have had potential if it would have kept going. But anyway, that's really all I have to say about the Nutshack to do a perfectly honest review. Today is the 10th anniversary, so I thought it was about time I reviewed it. As far as my joke review, that was obviously a joke, and I've actually unlisted it so that people don't get confused, even though I did retitle it April Fools. But if people ask for it, I will give them a link to it. Anyway, this has been Fugitive Red Eye, and you have a great day.